On this episode, we will show you a whole new world as we watched Aladdin, and you're listening to Geeked Out.
Popcorn in our hands, ready for the show. From the classics to the blockbusters, we're always in the know. Throwing references like confetti, we keep it real. Geeked Out Podcast, we make you feel. We're the critics you can trust.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Geeked Out. My name is Kyle.
Juan here.
And as you heard in the intro, we watched Aladdin as we move into the second week of our Disney Animated Renaissance miniseries. I want to first off apologize to everybody for missing our recording last week. But we're back and we're getting back into this Walt Disney World universe. And as I said, we watched the movie Aladdin. This was my pick. I mean, this movie has always had such a special place for me. It was probably one of the first Disney movies that I saw. I mean, that I can really remember. And there might have been other ones. I'm sure there were before, but this was one of the first ones I really remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that definitely leaves an imprint on like all us 90s kids. If it's the first one you really remember, the Disney animated movie, then that's usually typically one of your favorite ones. Yeah. Like for me, it's Lion King. It's one of my favorites because it was one of the first ones that I remember watching.
See, my only thing with the Lion King, as much as I love it, is I find that of this era of Disney films, that one is the one that gets talked about the most and almost overplayed the most. It's not that
it's overrated.
No, not that it's overrated. It's just, I mean, I'm somebody who will watch the same movie over and over and over again. So I guess this is going to sound really hypocritical, but I just find that it's almost too overplayed. Or too
because it's
overly praised and talked about.
I get it. I mean, I think it is justified, all the attention that it gets. But I see where you're coming from for sure. I think when it comes to like moments and songs, yeah, they definitely get talked about the most out of all the Disney animated properties, to be honest.
Yeah. And I got to be honest, like with I've mentioned them before on the podcast. I have two young daughters. They're 2 and 4, so they're right in this era of if they watch a movie, 90% of the time it's going to be a Disney or a Pixar or some kind of animation cartoon. So I have seen these so many times recently in the past few years that it's not that it's wearing me out of it, but it's getting close.
Yeah, it's like a really good song that you love, but it got overplayed on the radio back in the day. You know what I mean? Like Drop It Like It's Hot. I like that song, but if I hear it one more time, I'm going to go crazy because it overplayed itself. I get it. I understand what you're saying.
So what about you? Like you said, we both kind of grew up in the same era. When did you first come to this? Because I definitely didn't see this in theaters. I don't think my parents were taking me at 6 years old to go see a movie. But
yeah,
I don't know. Did you get to see this in theaters?
No, this was definitely a bought VHS tape amongst a lot of Disney animated classics. When it finally came out of the vault, the Disney vault, we were all over it for sure.
Yeah, we definitely owned this. Now, this movie was so popular that it actually spawned 2 different sequels. And oddly enough, I don't think we owned the second one, Return of Jafar, but we absolutely owned The King of Thieves, the third one.
And it had a Disney animated show.
And there was a show, yes.
Yeah, which the guy definitely did not sound like Robin Williams, but obviously they're not going to get on the tape to do a
Well,
show. But
I don't think the show was Rob. I know the second movie wasn't Robin Williams. He did come back for the third, but I'll get into
okay,
that
yeah, I vaguely
in a
remember
little
that.
bit. It was, I believe, it was Dan Castellaneta who did,
Homer,
yeah, the voice for the genie in the second movie.
nice. That's a
But
good
before we
voice.
get into it, we're gonna discuss the numbers and the background of this real quick. So the movie was originally released November 27th of 1992 to a box office of just $28 million. Sorry, a budget of just $28 million and a worldwide box office return of a whopping $504 million.
And that's just box office. That's not counting all the
VHS or
merchandise,
no,
VHS rentals, and just the merch, really, because
it's
you know,
odd that Disney was in such a bad place, and then all of a sudden they start to come out with these new animated movies, and they basically had a license to print money.
yeah, I mean, they had a formula, and they kind of just dusted it off and paired it with some really good songs, and
I mean, oddly
yeah,
enough,
it just
it was the
works, man.
same
It just worked.
it was the same kind of thing that happened with Marvel without the songs. I mean, they were borderline bankrupt in the '90s, and then all of a sudden they make Blade, Spider Man, they start the
X-Men.
MCU, and now they are one of the most profitable companies in the world, who is now also owned by Disney. Surprise, surprise.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of amazing when you see some of these companies are floundering on the verge of like closing their doors, and all of a sudden they hit this one idea and it just explodes for them, and they can basically write their
And
own
then
ticket
from there, it builds
for
the
the rest of
momentum.
time.
Yeah, but yeah, they definitely, yeah, they had, they started with one classic, and then from there they had that momentum, and it carried them, and they just kept coming out with really solid all-time good movies, and if not, they weren't all-time, they were still regarded as good movies,
Yeah,
and
well, I mean, even
they had that
even
reputation for a long time.
even now. So to get back to it, like you say, good movies. This movie currently has an IMDb rating of 8 out of 10. The critics of the Tomato Meter on Rotten Tomatoes have this at a 96, and the fans on the Popcorn Meter have it at a 92. I mean, this this movie is still beloved by everyone. I would venture to assume. I mean, people our age
Yeah,
love it
totally.
because we grew up with it, and now you've got people our age showing their kids and so on and so forth. And I mean, the nice thing about animated movies is, aside from when you discuss like the different animation styles, like from a hand drawn Disney animation movie to a Pixar type thing, the only thing that's really different is the animation and the quality of it. The stories are going to hit. They're going to resonate with kids regardless of the age. So it's nice that a lot of these movies can be that timeless type thing that the kids can always enjoy.
Yeah, it's a timeless story, and they paired it with great animation, all-time banger of songs, and the most animated character of all time. And I'm not even talking about his animated character, I'm talking about the actual person, Robin Williams. Those elements combined just created something very special.
I mean, him alone, I read that all all of the improv and ad libbing that he did, I read that they had an additional
Oh my God.
16 hours of
Of
audio that he
course they
did.
did. He
And,
was going off.
well,
He was
and
going
be,
off.
because this story is derived from um, kind of I think it would be considered like a folk tale, like the original story of Aladdin. Because of all the improv that Robin Williams did, the script could not be considered for best adapted screenplay at the Oscars because so much of what he did wasn't even in the actual script.
Okay,
Now
interesting.
that to me
I
is
didn't know it.
like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that much improv.
Yeah,
Good lord, a lot.
to be disqualified from an adapted screenplay Oscar nom. I mean, and then like I said, they had 16 additional hours of audio, which I would just love to hear. I don't even need it animated. I would just love to hear what he did.
But it does make sense. You couldn't write what the fuck Robin Williams was saying on a script. Like he was going, he was just his introduction scene. Within 10 seconds, he's already done 25 impressions. It was wild.
Well, that whole thing at the beginning when he's the street merchant, all they did was brought him into a soundstage and they put him behind a table that
Oh,
had a
not even.
bunch
I
of
mean, yeah, yeah. The
it
street
just had
merchant
a
technically was the
yeah,
genie.
and all it
I'm
was
speaking
is it.
about. Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
when he first comes out, but I was gonna say
As
yeah,
the genie, as the genie.
they just had a bunch of stuff on a table and they said, "Okay, Robin, just go for it." And all of that, the entire merchant scene is just he just improv off the top of his head, and it's absolute gold.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah, man.
I do
It,
know that Robin Williams was very um, upset with Disney after the production of this movie. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but when Robin Williams agreed to do the voice of Genie, he agreed to do the role for what they call union scale, which is the lowest legal rate that a studio can pay an actor. And he did it on the provision that his voice wasn't used for things like merchandise or
oh
like
my
any
God.
kind of toys, any of that. Um, he said that he didn't want the genie to take up more than 25% of the poster, of the ad, or anything like that. And
Oh, oh no.
Disney agreed to it, and then obviously they went completely back on their word.
No. So like, what the fuck? You seen this movie? No. Have you seen his performance? You got to put more. They probably wanted to put a little bit more
Well,
if they could, if it
well,
didn't
I
mess with
don't
the
think he
pacing of the
minded it
story.
being in the movie. It's just he didn't want it to be.
Front and
I
center.
think I think he didn't want it to all be about him when it came to like the toys, the merchandising, the because again the genie is just a side character. But Disney was like, well, yeah, that's great. They shook his hand like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and
And
then
then they
they
had to
turned
pivot
around
big
and
time
basically
behind
did it
that.
anyways. So he was furious with them, and that's why he didn't return for the Return of Jafar. The only reason that he ever like came back was um, Disney CEO Michael Eisner had apologized to him and gave him an original Pablo Picasso painting as an apology.
Okay.
And then when Jeffrey Katzenberg was fired, that was when Robin Williams finally kind of made his peace with the whole thing and came back and he did King of Thieves and but for a while there he was like he wanted nothing to do with anything to do with Disney.
Interesting. I really would like to get his side of why he didn't want the genie to be
But it's
interesting.
funny because so they did that with him and then years later is that not what they did with Scarlett Johansson with Black Widow? When that came out during the pandemic and she had something that she wanted them to wait until theaters were back open and they gave her their word and turned around and released it on streaming service and she was like to hell with you guys. Isn't that what happened
Uh,
there?
something like that. I'm sure. I don't know the details, but I know she sued them and won. So, but I know it has something to do with the Black Widow movie being released on streaming. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
doubt that it is that. I just don't know the actual details.
because I think it had something to do with that she was going to make. She had a percentage of the box office or whatever, and then if it gets released on streaming, there is no box office.
Mm,
But I could be wrong. I don't want to.
it sounds right.
But I
I
do
just don't
remember
know.
something like that, something crazy like that happening. So it's kind of weird that, what, 20, 25 years apart, Disney kind of did the same. They had like a handshake agreement and then immediately turned around and went, yeah, fuck that. We're doing what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you're one of the most successful companies of all time. You're gonna do some shady stuff.
Yeah.
You don't get to the top without being a little scummy. So it makes sense. It makes sense. But I know Scarlett Johansson has made up with Disney after she won the case, so they aren't entirely assholes. I mean, at least to the point where they're able to
Admit.
apologize and make good with the
Yeah.
people that they kind of screwed over.
But that was a bit of a tangent I didn't really anticipate. But quickly to get back to this before we actually start talking about the movie was directed by another one by Ron Clements and John Musker. These guys are absolute legends. It was written by Ron Clements, John Musker, Ted Elliott, and Terry Rossio, along with many others receiving story by credits. The movie stars Scott Weinger, Robin Williams, Linda Larkin, Jonathan Freeman, Gilbert Gottfried, and of course, Frank Welker.
Yeah.
A kind-hearted street. IMDb had it listed as
Street Rat.
street urchin. So
Put
I
Street
wrote.
Rat IMDb.
So
They only say in the movie like 50,
I
15
literally
times.
wrote a kind-hearted street urchin, street rat, and a power-hungry grand vizier vie for a
Street
magic
Urchin.
lamp that has the power to make their deepest wishes come true. Now, right off the bat, before there is even anything on the screen, we kick into Arabian Nights,
Hell yeah.
which is such a great song. And then when you do see the animation, within I'd say 30 seconds, you get a sense of where you are. You're in the middle of a desolate
Yeah.
desert.
Yep.
You get to see this massive, beautiful palace and the whole town that is kind of dwarfed beneath it. Before any
Yeah.
dialogue is even said, the stage for the movie is completely and 100% laid out and set for you, the viewer.
Oh yeah. The opening song definitely sets the tone for the movie. Um, it also acts like a snake charmer, and you are the snake because as soon as you start hearing that song, you're in a trance.
My shoulders, my head start moving, and I'm like,
You can't help it.
I'm locked in.
You're immediately. And it's the song plus just the vibrant, colorful, and just like the animation that's involved in that opening. It's the pairing of the two that just you're immediately invested.
Now, I'm gonna. This might be a hot take. This might not. I don't know. In my opinion, I prefer the look of the palace in Agrabah over any other Disney castle.
Okay,
I,
interesting. I never thought about that. I never rated my Disney castles.
you know what? I didn't think of it until this time I watched it, and the camera does that pan over that sand dune, and it's just it takes up your whole screen, and I just immediately went, I love the look of this so much more than Beauty and the Beast castle, more than Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, any of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the iconic castle at like Disney World, Disneyland. Like those things are awesome. They look so cool, especially
Yeah, it's
because
really
they're
cool.
3 dimensional. They're like we can see them in person. But I don't know the scale and the aesthetics of the Palace of Agrabah. I just for some reason it hit something for me,
Okay.
and I've never really thought of it until this rewatch.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I really love this animation style in general. And yeah, and just yeah, man, just the way they like just the colors and
It, it's a
that they
dull.
choose. It's
It's almost dull, and yet somehow it still pops.
yeah, and it's still yeah, it has like just a liveliness to it. And
Because if you remember, the beginning of the movie is at night, so everything is darker, but somehow the colors do just pop right off the screen.
they pop, yeah, yeah, like the dark blues and just the yeah, like the sand and even with the Cave of Wonders itself, it's when they mix the 3D animation with the 2D and they were just very new at doing that at the time. Uh, Even though it does at times feel a little bit dated, I still feel it works and it's still kind of impressive.
Dude, that Cave of Wonders freaked the fuck out of me when I was a kid.
Oh, for real?
Well,
The
especially
voice
because
probably the most. I think it's the voice.
well, it was the voice, but then also he says only one may enter. It's like, okay, so are you saying only one person from the surrounding area or only one person on the planet? And it's like you see, I mean, number one, when you see Jafar, which I also want to say, I definitely appreciate Disney in the fact that the way they animate their bad guy, there's no question, you know right off the bat who is the villain of the movie. So it's not going
Yeah,
to be one of
if
those
they're
movies where it's like, oh, surprise, twist ending.
they are of a darker skin type, have
They're
dark
very
clothes,
pointy.
and yeah, the very angular face. Yeah, and usually they'll have just the cadence of their voice is very villain-like. Everything
Yeah,
about
Jafar really does have a very, very like almost like holier than thou, like I Jafar am like he feels that he's better than everybody.
yeah, it's like a Shakespearean type villain. It's very
Shakespearean with a
inspired by
sneer.
hmm
Now,
and it
one thing
works.
I think I've noticed it before, but I really noticed it this time. This um, Gazim, I believe, is the thief's name um, who Jafar gets to try to go into the cave.
Sure.
When he hands Jafar the little piece of the beetle, whatever he says to him, I had to slit a few
Yeah,
throats, but here it is, and I was like, oh my god,
there's a couple scenes like that where they don't that where they aren't afraid of not necessarily they don't obviously show violence, but they're not afraid to imply it.
yeah.
Something that you can't get away with now for some reason.
I mean, even
And
back then, I was surprised they would put that in a kids cartoon.
true, but I think they wanted to throw in some of the cultural themes of like being in the slums of
Well,
Arabia, I guess, and they did it in a they didn't want to go too far with it, but they at least wanted to capture some of that.
well, it's funny you say about the culture. When I never noticed it as a kid, but as an adult, the past like several times I've watched it, I've really picked up on how often they refer to like Allah. Like,
Only now, yeah, after the 2001, you really
well,
notice it more.
well, like because something we would see in a normal movie, like when her dad says, what we would normally be used to him, like, oh, God forbid you ever have children, like you ever have a daughter, whatever. But he says, Allah forbid. And things like that, I appreciate that they added that in because, I mean, that is the
Because
culture.
usually is that,
That is
yeah.
the like, a very predominant religion in the Middle East where this movie takes place.
Hmm.
So it makes sense that that's how they would, like, that might be
They
how
would
they would
refer to
talk.
God as, yeah, because they easily could have just said God instead of how they
And no,
pronounce it in
and
that nation.
nobody would have blinked an eye.
No, you would have some complaints, but nobody would have been listening. Yeah, it's little things like that that definitely add authenticity and attention to detail, which I really love in movies when they do that, even in an animated movie.
Well, even then, you go to the next scene where you've got Aladdin stealing the bread, and you get him, like you say, the violence. You get implied that if he's caught, he's going to be severe, like not just thrown in jail for a day or like a fine, like he's going to be severely punished. Later, Jasmine takes an apple, and the guy pulls out a sword, and he says, "You know the penalty for thievery," and he's going to cut her hand off.
Yeah, very
Like
well
that,
was gone to.
that's a very bold take to do in a kid's movie. And yet, as an adult looking at it, knowing that that's how some of that culture can be, I actually really appreciated it. That
Absolutely.
they didn't shy away.
Yeah, and as much as Disney gets, um, criticized for being Disneyfying their Disneyfying certain things and aspects of their animated features and the way they tell a story. In this one, uh, not not entirely. I mean, they weren't afraid to include those things. They didn't have to. This could have been definitely a more softer version than what it is.
Yeah,
So
and
I don't get why they got so criticized for being a Disneyfied or just that being a thing, a word that's used for things
yeah,
to soften things.
because even when you get right, we go right into Aladdin singing a great song, the one jump. Um, in that song, he literally crashes into a brothel,
Hmm.
which, of course, anybody who doesn't know what that is, a brothel's a whorehouse.
Hmm.
Like you're threatening to kill, talking about slitting throats, threatening to cut hands off, and then Aladdin goes into, like I say, a whorehouse, all within the first what 7 minutes of the movie, 8 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
Like that's wild to think about.
true.
I mean, I have no. I think it actually it just makes the movie feel a little more real, even though it is animated.
Hmm.
And again, as we discuss, like that song, that one jump, I love that song.
Hmm. Pretty good.
Um,
And it shows you like just how what life is like for Aladdin, you know what I mean? And yeah, they definitely show you what how dire his situation is, being somebody who's a street rat, like living in the slums. How he has to survive,
yeah,
and it's not easy.
no, it really isn't. It shows him and Abu like Abu is pet monkey. They're starving. They have to steal a loaf of bread, but then as soon as they get away, they see two young children, and Aladdin easily gives up his food, and Abu has to be convinced. But he in the end he still gives it up too, so that these kids can eat, and then they still have to go hungry.
Man, I would have ate that bread, man. Fuck them kids. No, I'm just playing. Uh, no,
But
yeah, yeah. It's to establish that they are that entitled diamond in the rough. They are somebody in not the best situation, but still has that heart and that character, that hero characteristic.
And I like that you see it a little bit, but you more see it once Jasmine comes out of the palace when she's disguised as a peasant. Um,
Hmm.
I do like to see that juxtaposition of he feels trapped being on the streets and all he wants is to live in the palace. Whereas she sees a life like his as freedom because she lives in the palace and she's constantly told you have to do this, do that, be here, be where we tell you to be. No exceptions. Those are the rules. You have to follow them. And
Yeah.
when they're together in his little squatting den, I don't know what you want to call it, they're both kind of talking at the same time about what their problems are, and then at the end of it, they both at the same time they say that they just feel so trapped. And I like the differentiating between that because regardless of what situation you're born into, you absolutely can feel the way that they both feel, regardless of what, like I say, what situation you're in. Because in one way or another, you can always wish for something different, and your ideal might be somebody else's nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, I like that. I like that that commonality between them.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we can talk about that because she sneaks out, and they like he falls in love at first sight, like just like so many of these Disney movies. It
That's how it
seems like
works.
it seems like so
Sometimes you
many of them
gotta.
are they have no interest in the depth of a person, just how they look.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how you fall in love at first sight. It's by their looks, and yeah, it is part of that Disney formula. So it's gotta be included, which makes
And then
sense. You know what I mean? Jasmine's up there when it comes to I guess most desired or at least talked about Disney princesses. She's ranked pretty high.
yeah, but you gotta remember she's like 13.
Oh, I mean, you know what I mean. Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to most, I guess most popular
No, I know what you're
Disney
saying,
princesses,
but
she's up there.
and it's interesting
Is she 13 in
because
the movie?
no, she's older than that.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn. All right. I mean, okay.
But it does seem that so that scene where they're together and then the guards come in and they arrest Aladdin and so on and so forth because Jafar has discovered that he is this diamond in the rough that he needs to get into the cave. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, we can probably fast forward right to the cave when Aladdin finally goes in
Oh
because
yeah, it's like she's
that's
finally home.
really where the movie starts to pick up because obviously we meet Carpet, we meet Genie, we
Hmm.
really get a sense of what Jafar is trying to do here.
And I like the fact that he took a play from one of the Disney villain playbooks by disguising himself as an uh, an old person, an elderly human. That's
Yeah,
the from Snow White's playbook there. I like it. I always, it's just something I like when they do that. And the villain disguises themselves as like an old person or a feeble person or unsuspecting, obviously, sus suspicious older person to trick the hero.
well, what's suspicious that I never picked up on is when Aladdin does go into the cave, the cave literally says to him, um, "Other touch only the lamp, nothing else," or something like
Hmm.
that. And yet, this old man is promising Aladdin that if you bring me the lamp, you can have everything else. Well, he was just told he can't touch any of it, so where's the incentive?
True. Should have told him right then and there.
And of
But
course, it's that selfish fucking monkey Abu.
it's yeah. I mean, yeah. He got absolutely hypnotized by that big ass
I mean, it's a ruby the size of
brain.
a fucking watermelon, but.
It's true.
And
They
then
should have. They should have
did you
stayed on
hear
course.
what it when he grabs it, the whole cave just goes infidels.
Oh, really? I didn't know exactly what he said.
Oh yeah, it flat out just yells infidels.
I'm a
And then the whole place turns into fucking lava, and thank God for Carpet, because otherwise they'd be toast. Now,
Carpet's MVP. Carpet's MVP of this movie, man.
I love
Uh,
Carpet. And to be able to animate that
And
and to have it have such personality without ever saying a word.
and I think that's one of the charm of this movie. I think the charm of this movie is cute, likable sidekicks. Every single person besides the Sultan has some kind of animal or sentient sidekick
The
that
Sultan
is
is his own
likable.
sidekick.
Easily, yeah, pretty much. Uh, Even Carpet is like Apu's sidekick, kind of. Like they all have sidekicks, and they're
Yeah.
likable. And yeah, man, I think that's part of the charm of this movie.
Even Raja, I mean, that's a badass pet tiger.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely.
But
Is yeah.
what I was kind of questioning is when he does finally get to the edge and he gives the guy the lamp, which then Abu apparently steals back from him, and they go
And where did he
tumbling.
have it? Where did he store it? He stored it up his butt. Like where was it?
No, he put it. He put it in
On
the
his back?
no, the shirt or jacket or vest, whatever he's wearing, has like an inside pocket, and
No,
he
I'm talking
put it
about
in
Apu.
there and pulled
Apu
out the
when he
dagger.
stole it from him.
Oh, I have no idea.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
just like pulled. Yeah, he just pulled it out. Like, look what I got.
He pulled it out of his video game inventory. I was like, oh wait, hold on. Wait.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
But
all right.
what I didn't
Fine.
even realize until this time I was rewatching it is when they're falling and Carpet comes to save them. We watched this entire cave turn all of the treasure into lava. So why is the whole cave not just filled with lava?
Because it's magic, man. It's just because it's magic.
There's no
It's
magic yet.
magic.
They haven't found the genie.
But the cave itself, right? I think the cave itself is just magic because it appears and disappears, right?
I
So
guess.
the rules in which it manifests and destroys itself doesn't abide by the natural laws of Disney animation, I guess. I don't
True.
know.
But I mean, this
Because
is
reasons.
because movie, yeah. But this is the point of the movie that everybody loves, everybody wants to get to. It's the introduction of the genie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Robin Williams show.
we've already talked so much about Rob Williams, but I don't know if if there's too much that can be said about this man. I mean, he is so much so the lifeblood of this movie. If
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't for him doing this role, I don't know. I don't know if this movie is good, and if it is, I don't think it even comes close to the same level that it's at now. Even when they did the live action remake a few years ago, I remember when they originally said that they were going to cast Will Smith as the genie, and everybody kind of groaned.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I saw an interview with him, and he basically had said, like, I'm not going to do what Robin Williams did because I'm not Robin Williams. Nobody can do what he did. He's like,
No one.
he was like,
Oh,
I'm
well,
just going to take it and kind of make it my own.
there's
Which
only one. Sorry.
well, I was going to say, which when he said that, I was like, I feel like that's the only way you could approach that character because, like you said, nobody can do what Robin Williams did, except for one person, which I'm pretty sure is what you're going to go into right now.
Yeah, yeah. Because it had a very The Mask kind of energy, the genie, just just a little different. But it was very much the same vibes as I would think Jim Carrey, if he would harness his mask,
Problem,
that mask energy, I think it would have been it would have been the same vibes, but not the same performance
I think the problem with
at
that
all.
is more of Jim Carrey when he does stuff like that is the reason it's funny when he does it is the facial expressions that accompany it. It's not just the voices.
Hmm.
Whereas Robin
Yeah,
Williams can do it where he's just focusing on the voices.
exactly. And Robin Williams does more impressions than Jim Carrey. But I
Yeah.
feel like if he's the only one that would come close, is what I'm saying. He would not have nailed it, obviously, or at least match the performance, but it's the closest you would have gotten to anybody that could have been
Yeah, I
able
agree
to
with that.
hang with that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but no, yeah, he's the genie operates completely on a completely different rhythm the rest of this movie. And even though I do think if you take him completely out of the movie, I think the movie does stand on its own because of the animation, the likable characters, the songs. But him, the addition of him just makes this a bona fide instant generational classic of a movie.
I agree. I mean, he is an absolute one of a kind that, as he says in the movie, the often duplicated, but nobody's ever going to do it the way he did.
Hmm.
Now,
Because yeah,
you mentioned the songs again. I do want to ask you: do you have a favorite song out of this movie, or do you? I mean, is there
I
one that you?
do, but not how the characters are singing it. I like the um I guess did they have a music video of it? But A Whole New World. I really like that song, but not how the characters in the movie are singing it.
Okay,
There's like two completely different people, or at least the male part of it is sung by a different person on the soundtrack. Forget his name, but that guy is a legend when it comes
well,
to singing Disney classic songs.
I know the guy who does the singing for Aladdin. His name is Brad Kane. Now,
Okay,
the only reason I know that is because the guy who voices Aladdin,
it's the guy
who
from
is
fucking
Scott
Full House.
Weinger, who anybody who grew up when we did is Steve from Full House.
I didn't know that.
Uh,
I didn't know that for a long time.
yeah. Well, he does the voice. Did you know that Aladdin was originally animated to look like Tom Cruise, or
Oh
somewhat
my
like Tom
God.
Cruise?
I think I heard something like that. It rings a bell, is what I'll say. I think I heard
Well,
something like that. But he kind of looks like the guy from The Little Mermaid. He looks like
Eric,
he's kind of got an Eric look to him,
yeah, a little bit. But you know
at least
what's
in the eyes.
interesting? So the guy who voices Jafar is Jonathan Freeman, who I think he's just a big voice actor. There was a an original want for the role of Jafar that this actor has said that it's been his biggest regret that he couldn't do this. But we almost had Captain Jean Luc Picard
Oh
because
my, oh no,
Patrick Stewart
uh,
had to turn down the role of Jafar
no,
because of scheduling conflicts with Star Trek: The Next Generation.
nah. Maybe I can kind of hear it because he's done many voice acting roles.
I mean, someone who loves Patrick Stewart
I just I don't know,
mainly
man.
because of Star
I don't know if he
Trek.
could be evil. I don't know if he could be villainous enough in his voice.
If
I've
you don't,
never heard him be a villain in anything.
well, the thing is, if you don't see him, I think it's easier to kind of
He's
have
got a,
that villain feel if you're just
he's got
hearing
a
the voice.
very distinctive voice. And just hearing
True,
him
but I
from
mean,
all his
I
roles
don't.
over the years, he's just never played a villain, so I can't comprehend it. I can't
Yeah, and I really don't
conceptualize it.
know if he was going to do some kind of an accent or just do his regular voice. I really don't know, but
They probably would have told him to villain up his voice for sure. Uh, but I'm glad that they landed on the guy that they got. It was great. It was perfect.
yeah, he does great. I mean, he did a great job. I do like so all this stuff when the genie's intro when he's doing a friend like me, all the different things that he does during the song, the animations and whatnot. And I also really like when Aladdin tricks him to get out of the cave, and he finally says to him like, "I want you to make me a prince." Number one, when
Well,
he's
first he
looking,
tells him
he's
to like,
pardon.
he gives him the rules, the genie rules. How you
Like
can't wish for
can't
more wishes, you
can't
can't bring
kill
back the
anyone.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad that they established those rules because those are usually the things people ask first when
Well,
a
and
genie is
they did
involved.
it because it's really going to come back later. But when he says that he wants to make him a prince, he pulls out a cookbook. And did you happen to notice that when he's in the cookbook, it's Sebastian from the Little Mermaid pinches the genie and he flings it away.
There was a Disney reference just before that too. Oh man, I should have wrote it down. It was like
Which one? I
something
didn't write
else.
that. I didn't
I
write
didn't
that
write it
one
down
down.
either, but I like because uh, I just made a mental note of it. It's just like, oh, it's whatever character. But yeah, another Disney reference just before that.
I remember he does the a little bit later. He does the impressions of Rodney Dangerfield and Jack
Jack
Nicholson, which as a kid
Nicholson,
went right over my head.
dude, he's going off with the impressions. He's doing when he when you first see him as the genie, he goes from like a black man to like a Scottish
The
guy to
Scottish
a
guy, yeah.
Jewish guy, all in a matter of seconds. It is crazy. He was going absolutely off, and that's only a fraction of what he was doing. That is, man, they should just put all that on a tape and have people listen to that.
I mean, if you
Just
want,
him
if you
going
watch some
crazy.
of Robin Williams' stand up, he does stuff like that on
Oh
stage.
yeah. He definitely loves that Scottish impression. Definitely pulls that out of his bag a lot,
Yeah.
and amongst others. Absolutely.
Now I think this is my. So we get the song right now. I think this is my favorite song of the movie is Prince Ali.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I don't know why
It's okay. It's
it just got
catchy.
such a bop to it.
Mm, it's pretty catchy, and that's what I like about this. Like, I guess technically you could say this is a musical, but it's not like you're not drowning in musical numbers. They know
Yeah.
exactly when to put the songs. They put it sparingly, but they all hit. And yeah, there's no wasted or
Well, and they
weak
also use
song
the
or unnecessary
songs.
song. Yeah.
So like Genie does, "A Friend Like Me" is his intro song. Um, "One Jump" is Aladdin's intro song. Prince Ali is the big intro for the whole town to see this new prince who's coming to court the princess.
Mhm. Whole new
Like,
world as we
they're not just
fallen
songs
in
thrown
love.
in for the sake of songs.
No, they're all used for a purpose of the story, and they're good songs. They're catchy. They'll either have you singing it or bobbing your head because it's a good tune.
Well, and you say bobbing your head, but the scene after they do A Whole New World had me scratching my head. How do they fly on a carpet from the Middle East to China?
Cause that carpet, bro, that's fast as hell.
And it's not light. This isn't
And
Star Wars. This is not light speed.
hey, they needed the time to fall in love. It had to make sense, right? They needed. That's why they were able to fall in love is because they spent so much time on that carpet.
And I like that in that scene when they're on the roof in China, she so easily calls out that he is Aladdin.
That's
And
true.
she just so randomly is
She just,
like, "Oh, I wish Abu could be here." And he's like, "Yeah, but Abu hates heights." Oh, shit.
yeah, she you know she had her suspicions from the jump, and basically when Aladdin told her to take his hand, she knew.
Do you trust me?
Or yeah, trust me, she knew there already. At that point, when she tricked him, she was just messing with him. She already knew.
Oh, yeah, she 100% knew. But
Hmm.
it's, they do have them fall in love very quickly. Again, it is only an hour and a half movie, so it kind of has to
Yeah,
be.
and that's part of the Disney formula. They
It
have a
is.
montage, either a montage or a scene where a song's involved, and within that song they fall in love.
Well, because then as soon as they get back, Aladdin immediately is arrested,
Oh yeah, you talk about this is the best
thrown,
night or ever, or things are finally looking up, and he gets his ass beat.
has a fucking ball and chain tied to his ankles, and is thrown off a cliff.
That shit was crazy. Because
Uh,
yeah, like he was going to die. He was going to drown in that moment,
which again,
and
it's
they didn't shy
Genie
away
just
from
takes
showing that.
Genie, but Genie says to him like, "You have to say I wish blank," and yet in that moment, I mean, he likes Aladdin. He just kind of
Getting a freebie, another freebie.
well, he does. It's not because he says that it's going to cost him a wish, but he says to him like, I really need to hear you say it this time." And Aladdin says nothing, and he goes, "I'll take that as a yes." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, technically, Genie gives them a couple extra wishes there, but he likes them. He likes them,
Well, it's always
so he
confused. It's
gets the wish.
always made me question the way the rest of the second and third movie, because spoiler, at the end of the movie he wishes Genie's freedom, and yet when he comes back in the next movies, yes, he's free, but he still has all of his unlimited powers.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Because, just because you're free, are you free from being a genie or at least free of the power of a genie? I don't know.
Because
Because
literally
yeah,
that because
as soon as like he gets freed, it seemed like he still had his power then. Like he was
well, he has
doing the
his powers
pinball
in the
thing.
second and third movie.
Hmm.
All Aladdin had to do the minute he found the lamp was, "I wish for your freedom," and it's like, okay, let's just hang out and you can give me unlimited magic.
Yeah, and it would have been smart if the sequels would have dove in how being a genie or how he ended up being a genie. Was he a human? Was he always a magical entity? Uh,
Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
use
explain
a little
anything. It
differently.
just all it does is give you the line about phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty living space. That's all they really
Hmm.
discuss about being a genie.
Pretty much.
Now, the one character we haven't talked about yet is so first Aladdin
Who?
and we'll get there. But first, Aladdin and Genie have this argument that Genie wants him to be honest with Jasmine, and he doesn't. He says, "I can't because Again, I'm nothing but a measly little street rat, not street urchin. I'm a
Hmm.
street rat, and I have to continue this. She needs to think I'm a prince because she has to marry a prince, yada, 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 yada. And after this fight, Aladdin leaves, and a little red bird comes in and steals the lamp. Now, we haven't really talked about Gilbert Gottfried as Iago yet.
Mm-mm.
He's another one that, if it wasn't for Robin Williams, I think he could have stole this movie.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of does steal the scenes that he's in. Um, you give him more, he definitely would have stolen those scenes as well. And yeah, he's part of the lineup of likable side characters, even though unfortunately he is on the villain side of it. He still has some charm and personality, even though he's an annoying, he can be borderline annoying sometimes. Uh,
It's the
yeah, man.
constant yelling.
Yeah, definitely. In that Gilbert Gottfried style of voice, but still likable, still charming, and when he's on screen, he's definitely delivering.
Yeah, he does a great job at the character. Like, you can really get a sense of his allegiance to Jafar, and yet it also almost seems like he's only hitching his wagon to Jafar because he thinks he's the horse to bet on, which is going to put him in the best possible situation. It's not so much blind loyalty as opposed to like, I'm going to be loyal to this guy because it's going to behoove me and it's going to help me out in the future.
Yeah, he thinks he's on the winning side, and
Yeah,
he's on whatever the winning side is, whether it be Jafar or somebody else. But currently, it's him, so that's
because
who
in
he's
future
he's
movies, he
loyal.
does switch allegiances and
Seems like
is
it.
on
Seems like
Aladdin's side.
personally. I can see that.
But
I can see that.
Jafar with this lamp, I mean, within, I don't know, 5 minutes, he's already used two of his wishes. He wants to
Yeah,
rule on high as the Sultan. Excuse me. Which
I found that funny because like they take the buddy's clothes, the other Sultan puts it on Jafar. So he's got like he goes from his villainess to the Sultan's like
he goes from
beige
the black robes to the
white.
white.
And then 5 seconds later, he goes back to his original colors.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought
almost
the same.
immediately. He's like,
I thought
"Fuck
the
this
same thing.
goddamn bullshit. I want my old drip back."
Well, he's like, I want to
As
be
soon as he
Sultan, and
becomes
he
like the
goes,
sorcerer,
yeah, because he's like, no, you know what, Sultan's cool and all, but now I want you to make me the most powerful sorcerer in the world. And apparently, sorcerers only wear black.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's Jafar's only motivation is more
Power,
power. Once he realizes that there's a bigger fish, he goes after the more
and
power.
and
I
that's what
wish there
Aladdin.
was. I wish he would have dove into what happens after he has the power. What's he going to do? What is his motivation after? Because without that, you're just a
the
stereotypical villain.
The problem is,
And
I don't think he's thought that far ahead.
I mean, but that's every type of villain like him. They never think ahead. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's
I
true.
mean, it's a critique of mine. I still like the character. I just wish we had more understanding of his motivations entirely.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, and
But it's a
then
Disney villain, right? There's not a whole lot of Disney villains that are fleshed out in that way.
no, not at all. But again, it's hard to do that in an hour and a half movie where you're focusing on the
Hmm.
protagonist.
Oh yeah, I definitely get
So,
it.
but yeah, he immediately wants to become this sorcerer, and then basically turns the previous. Um, No, what the hell's his name? Sultan. I want to call it Pharaoh, but the previous Sultan into like a jester, and he basically turns Jasmine into Princess Leia, and he's Jabba. Like he's got her
Yeah,
chained up in this. It felt very Princess Leia, Jabba's palace type deal to me.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though it was all red, I kind of liked how he had his castle up on the top of the whatever sand thing, and like just the look of how he transformed his palace, the
Mm-hmm.
reds and all that. I kind of liked it, even though it's very villainous. I still I found it aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I didn't mind the look of it.
Hmm.
It's just like I say, with the way that they had that all set up, it was like I'm I'm ruler, I'm in charge. Now you're going to be my little. You've put me through all this crap, so you're going to get humiliated by my parrot, and you're going to wear a fucking court jester's hat, and everybody's going to point and
Yeah,
laugh at you.
it seemed like
And
yeah,
and
that's basically the as much as he thought through of what he was going to do with the power once he gets it. I'm just gonna fuck with the people that,
yeah,
you know, kept me down, you know.
he screws with him, and he basically turns Jasmine into like
I
a
did like
Disney
I did
movie
like how
sex slave.
what's the bird's name? The
Iago.
Iago. I like how he was feeding he was force feeding the
The
Sultan crackers.
crackers.
Yeah, there's crackers. I
Yeah, because
like
you're
crackers.
earlier in the movie, he's
He's
like, if I have to eat one more of those moldy, stinking crackers.
yeah, I like how they brought that back. It
But
was a good
and
payoff.
Aladdin comes back and he almost gets the lamp back, thanks
Oh
to
yeah.
Jasmine distracting
Oh Van
um,
Damme.
Jafar with the
Yeah.
kiss. And the only reason that he doesn't get it is because he sees the reflection in her
Hmm.
crown of him just about to grab it. And then, of course, he puts Jasmine in the big hourglass. He turns himself into a giant king cobra. And this is when Aladdin realizes that, like you said, Jafar doesn't know what he wants except that he wants power. And he says to him, as long as the genie's around, you're always going to be second best. And he just outsmarts him because, let's
I mean,
face it,
he played into his ego, and you know that's
absolutely.
a very smart way to get one up on the villain, playing to his ego. He's smart enough to recognize it,
And he
that
does. He
his thirst
wishes
for
to be
power was
an
downfall.
all powerful genie. And we get Aladdin again when he says, you wanted to be a genie, you're going to get everything that comes with it. Phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty living space.
Right? And the even the design of him as the dark
The
genie
genie, oh, good lord.
was both terrifying and like it looked great, man.
Terrifying as a kid, looks kind of cool now as an adult.
Exactly. Yeah, it was definitely it left an impression on me as a kid seeing that red genie.
I mean, this whole scene when I was a kid, from the trapping Jasmine in the hourglass to the him becoming the giant cobra to the giant genie, all of it when I was a kid was very stress inducing and scary.
Yeah, I mean those are especially for a kid, it's one of the first times you see like stakes, like real uh it's like big stakes in a movie, man, life or death situation, and you're in it. If you're a kid and it's one of the first movies you've seen, yeah, you're definitely emotionally invested.
Yeah.
And even rewatching it years later, you're still emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, because you remember what it felt like as that kid watching it.
Hmm. For sure.
But I mean, so yeah, he's stuck in this lamp, and he pulls Iago in with him, which I thought was kind of funny. The genie says, I think he says a couple thousand years or a couple millennia or something like that in the Cave of Wonders, and he just flicks the lamp and away it goes.
I mean, we know that's not true because there's that damn sequel comes out a couple years from now. But
Yep,
you know,
it was a nice thought while it happened.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Aladdin keeps his wish, or keeps his wish. He keeps his word, and he wishes for Genie's freedom, even though he's now been outed, and Jasmine knows that he's not a real prince. And
And he didn't have to. Genie was okay with not having that wish granted to him because
question,
before then he was very, he took it really personal when Aladdin said that he wasn't going to give him that wish. But
couldn't couldn't Aladdin have just handed Jasmine the lamp and been like, "You're his new master. Wish him free."
hell yeah, I didn't know that. I thought because if you still have active wishes, if someone else rubs they automatically become the new master. So
Reset.
it doesn't. It didn't reset. You still had that one wish, right?
Yeah, I would have thought it would have reset.
I thought it
Also,
would
like
have
I
reset
said,
too.
he could have handed Jasmine and got her three
Or
wishes. Could have handed it to the Sultan and got three more wishes.
I was thought originally, 'cause it's been so long since I rewatched this, that he couldn't wish until Aladdin used up all his wishes. I didn't. I just completely forgot how that worked.
Yeah,
But
I
I
just
found
kept
that
thinking,
interesting. I was like, oh, okay, that's okay.
I just kept being like, can you just give it to somebody? Now that would be people are always like, oh, typical guy would always just ask for more wishes. But like, you've got two other people. That's six more wishes if you want.
True. Or you could just tell yourself to become the most powerful sorcerer on the planet, and you can be a low key level genie. You could still
Exactly.
do some crazy stuff. Yeah.
I do love that the first thing the genie does is his wrist things, whatever, come off, and he says, "Wish for the Nile." And Aladdin, I wish for the Nile. He goes, "No way!" He's so
Yeah.
excited to say no. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, but what happens if he would have used his third wish? Do you just immediately go back in the lamp? Like, I
I
don't,
guess.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess we
Maybe
might be
until
looking
someone else
into it a
rubs it.
little too far, but
Yeah.
either way, that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of Aladdin. Like I said, he wishes for his freedom, and everybody lives happily ever after. They change the law, and Aladdin and Jasmine can be married.
I'm Sultan. I can make the rules. You can marry. And why were you under so much pressure
Yeah,
to have this bitch married the next day? Because she had to marry a motherfucker like the
within
next day.
3 days or something because it was
Oh,
her
3 days.
birthday.
I was like, you could have just made this rule the whole time, man. Like, you're pressured by your own rules? All right, cool, 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 cool.
Yeah, that doesn't make a ton of
I thought that
sense,
was
but
funny. I mean, for, following law, I guess, and tradition makes sense, but the fact that he was under so much unnecessary pressure when he could have just made the rule,
yeah,
I thought was kind of
because exactly
unnecessary.
that's what he does in the end. He just changes it to fit what he wants.
Exactly, he could have done that at the beginning. Could have done that way before. But I don't know. Maybe because he was under the hypnotic spell of Jafar, his logical brain. I don't fucking know. I'm looking too much into it.
But with that bringing us to the end of the movie, we're going to move into our final thoughts. I was the one who brought up this movie, so I'll go first. As I said, this is an absolute classic of a movie. I
Hmm.
could not tell you how many times I've seen it. It's probably in the hundreds, considering how old, like how long ago it came out.
Hundreds.
Dude, I watch this on my own enough, and I've probably watched it with my kids. I don't know how many times. I've
Yeah,
probably seen it close to 100 times.
it's very rewatchable, so it makes sense.
Um, Again, like we've said through this whole episode, the animation is fantastic. The storyline is really great. The characters play off of one another very well. It's a very visually striking movie to look at. It's a lot of fun. There's some great songs. Well, some. They're all great songs. I don't really think that there's a bad one in this movie, at least in my opinion. The voice acting is, I mean, it's good. It's nothing crazy over the top aside from Gilbert Gottfried and Robin Williams. But that being said, overall, I think the movie is a super fun experience. I would recommend this to everybody. Specifically, I mean, people our age, you're going to have a ton of nostalgia watching this. And if you have kids who haven't seen it, or if you have family members, kids, or anything like that who haven't seen it, suggest they watch it because, like I said, this movie, because of the way it's done, because of the timeline that it takes place in, it is timeless. I mean, kids nowadays will probably identify just as much as we did with it. And
It's
I
a
think that
tale as old as time, as they say.
exactly, different movie, but exactly. Um,
Same vibes. Same vibes.
I think that everybody would enjoy this across the board. And I am right alongside the IMDb. I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I definitely agree with most everything you said. Um, this is amongst the pantheon of Disney movies. This is top, I'd say top 10 if you were to go through all their movies and list them. I could safely say this is the top 10 all-time movie. Um, I personally love it and totally recommend this movie for anybody who has never seen this or hasn't seen it in a while. Freak, give it a rewatch. Um, what works for me in this movie is obviously Robin Williams is the genie. Uh, doesn't He's not just a voice. He just completely is the genie, and definitely steals every single moment he's in this movie. Um, the soundtrack, I feel like A Friend Like Me, Prince Ali, A Whole New World, amongst others, are all-time greats. And the music in the movie is woven into the story. It's not just like inserted. Um, I really like the pacing. It's 90 minutes. There's no wasted time. It's constant forward motion. It feels short, but it doesn't feel rushed. And I also respect the early use of CG in this movie, especially with the Cave of Wonders, some of the magic carpet scenes, especially when he's riding through the various countries and cities and whatnot. Um, some things that don't work for me is just Aladdin himself, only because he's slightly generic, that archetype, and totally gets overshadowed by Genie. Um, Jafar's motivation, he's just evil for evil's sake, no complexity there. He just wants power because villain. And we didn't get enough Jasmine. I feel like if I think we for some reason I thought she was in the movie more, and when I rewatched it, I realized that she really wasn't. She was just splashed into the movie, and I just wish we got more of her as a character. because she's a strong character, but she gets sidelined. But overall, this is a hell of a movie. Um, a must watch if you haven't seen it, and even if you haven't seen it in a while, I still feel like you should watch it. Um, totally recommend it. It's a high energy classic carried by one all-time performance. I'm going to give this also an 8 out of 10.
Awesome. Now, we've been raving about the music in this movie. Before we sign off, I do want to say this movie did win 2 Academy Awards. It won Alan Menken for Best Music Original Score, and Alan Menken and Tim Rice for Best Original Song with A Whole New World. Now, the movie, a lot of the music was done by Alan Menken and Tim Rice, and also the late, great Howard Ashman, who collaborated on a lot of the Disney movies. So it's really not surprising that the songs hit as hard as they do. I just wanted to give those props before we kind of moved on. So that's going to bring us to the end of Aladdin. Juan, why don't you let us know what we will be watching next for the podcast as we continue into our third episode of the Disney animated Renaissance?
Yes. So yeah, I think we're jumping forward in the timeline of the Disney Renaissance. Um, this time we're headed deep into the jungle for a movie
Nice.
that invented an entirely new way to animate movement when it comes to swinging, or should I say surfing on vines. Um, it's a story of two worlds, one family, and an amazing soundtrack by Phil Collins that
Best
defined
Disney
the late
soundtrack of all time.
and defined the late 90s. So get your vines ready because next week we're reviewing Disney's Tarzan.
Oh, dude, I'm pumped. Yeah, that is my favorite Disney soundtrack of all time, bar none.
It
No
slaps.
notes.
If you've never heard of Phil Collins or don't know who he is, and you watch this movie, you're instantly become a lifelong fan of Phil Collins.
Yep. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I listened to that soundtrack in the late '90s, early 2000s. No, I'm pumped to watch that movie next week.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time since I watched this movie. I was really into the
It's
Tarzan
been about a week.
when it came out. Sorry?
It's been about a week. The kids just watched it.
Oh, for real? That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah, it's been a little bit longer than a week for me, but when it first came out, man, I was all about it. I was what there was this. They had a video game, I believe,
Yep.
and they had like I think an animated show as well, and I just ate it
I
all up.
think there was an animated show.
I'm pretty sure there was, and I ate that shit up because I was just enthralled by just that world and how they constructed it.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So join us next week as we discuss Disney's Tarzan. And that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. As always, we want to thank everybody for listening and subscribing. And we'd like to ask everybody to give us a rating, review. If we're talking about a movie that you know that friends of yours might like or family members, let them know what we do and have them tune in. Maybe they'll hear something they like. And I mean, who knows? We would really love the help from all of our listeners to help grow the podcast. We really appreciate it. And as always, give us a follow on our socials, which will be posted in the show notes. And as always, thank you everybody for listening, and thank you for subscribing. Take care, everybody.
Peace.